It's fun.
Let's make this podcast about you.
I know, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
This.
I love this. This has been the greatest. This is the greatest podcast ever.
Oh my goodness.
Everyone wants to hear about you guys right now.
Well, I want to hear about you guys. I know a lot about me and her.
Same here. Same here.
Let's flip the
You gotta tell
script
us.
on you guys.
Yeah.
Little do you know, we have our own sheet
Y'all
over
own
here.
script?
We do.
That
They've got their
we
outline
collaborated,
Yep, before this.
colluded
Yep.
to
You
get
guys
you.
seem like a nice, friendly duo, though. I feel
We
like that
are.
would be a fun interview for us.
Flip
If
the
they
script one time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd
bring
be
it.
fun. But how did y'all meet?
We're just luring you into to comfort, and then we'll hit you with the hard stuff.
How did you two
We
meet?
met when I was an assistant at Maryland, and we had an open assistant position, and we hired Yo to be the other assistant. So we were assistants together at Maryland. My second year as an assistant there, and then
She abandoned me.
and then after my
left you?
second year, her first year, I took the position at Louisville as the assistant. So we worked 1 year together there, and that's how we first got connected.
So then you came here and you brought.
Yeah,
You're
so
along?
then I worked at Louisville for 4 years, and then the head job at Maryland opened, and I took the head job at Maryland, and Yo called Yo, and she went to Maryland with me, and we were there 10 months, got the call from Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
And hopped on over here.
Gosh, that's weird. It is 10 months. I always say
Yeah.
a year, but it was 10 months.
It was 10 months. My husband reminds me of that. We were there 10 months, Courtney. I'm like, okay, well, so it was really quick. And we went there thinking we would be there for a while. But when you get a call from Arkansas, you change your
turn it
plans.
down.
Yeah, you don't turn it down. And that's the funny thing is we were there 10 months, got a call from Arkansas. And my first call was my response was, I don't know what I think about this. I don't know what Joe's going to say. We just got here, And I got off the call and walked in the house and told him. And I was like, what do you think? He's like, yes, I think you take that call. And so that's pretty much sums up Joe in a sentence. It's like, yes, you take that call. And then it was asking Yo, and Yo was just like, yes, I'd go. Which is pretty cool. She hadn't even been here.
It was very quick.
Right.
It was very quick.
But it's, I mean, this place is incredible, and even from the outside looking in, you could see what this could be, and so you take that call.
Absolutely. So what is y'all's working relationship like?
We've been together for a really long time, and in the transition coming here, I said yes sight unseen, because I think that when you get to this point in your career, I've been doing this for 18 years, you figure out that being with people that you adore and love, but then also respect, and also respect you is the most important thing. So I've been to a lot of different places and worked for a lot of different people. Our working relationship's fantastic. I think that our staff isn't like any other staff in that I consider Courtney to be one of my best friends. And she's also my boss, and I think that for me, I love being an assistant. And so my job is to assist and fill the gaps for her, and it's my job title, but then also when you're doing that for a friend, I think it makes it more rewarding. But I mean, ultimately, I respect the dynamic of her being my boss, which is an important aspect of being an assistant. And so it's easy, it's seamless. She knows that she can talk to me about anything, and I do the same with her, so it's easy.
Yeah, I think you would spend a day with us or an hour with us and realize that we're really different. We're wired.
We're polar opposites. Let's just be clear.
Wired really differently. And then you throw Matt, our other coach, in the mix, and you could see that all three of us are very, very different, but it works. And it's the differences, I think, that make us really strong. And it's the differences that I think we all embrace, because where she says she fills the gaps for me, I think we do that for each other. But then in that, you have a little bit of something for everybody on the team and in the program. And so it just seems to work.
So in what ways are you polar opposites?
Gosh, I want to take this
Every
question,
way.
Coach Deifel.
In every way.
I'm taking this question. Well, I move about my life trial and error. So I'm like, okay, let's try this and see what happens. If it's wrong, I'll just adjust and do something different. She wants to get it right the first time, which there's value in both approaches. I'm, again, a little bit more adventurous. But she wants to get it right the first time, and I'm just, again, that person that's want to kind of try and do, and yeah, which that's the main thing, and that goes into every aspect of kind of what we do as a program. Like, we fill those gaps of, like, you know, the creativity thing is kind of one of my areas. Matt is not creative, and I'm saying this publicly because he would agree.
Because he would say it. Anytime something creative comes up, he's like, I'm out.
She pretends to not be creative. She's like, I don't really care. You guys choose. And then she's like, oh, what about this? What about that? So
I have my moments.
yeah, so yeah, that's the easiest way to say it is that I'm trial and error. She wants to get it right the first time. So
Then what was your first impression of each other when you first met?
Well, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so we were very different, I think, in our coaching personas, I would say. You could tell immediately, you can tell her heart. And I would like to say you could tell mine. So like we immediately knew that we were really good people. And then it was a different time in our coaching. Like we were both assistants. She's really fiery. But that's mellowed a little bit. So like our first year, she was like fiery on a level I didn't understand, but it worked, and it worked. And I'm pretty calm most of the time until like you push me to that brink, and then I can go. And so that was the first impression, as I think we could see who we were as people and had a lot of respect for that, and then who we were as coaches. Even though we took different journeys or different routes to get to that, and just had a lot of, like she said, a lot of respect for the way in which we both did it differently, but to get to the same goal.
We worked really closely together at Maryland, had a great working relationship instantly. Like whenever I was on my interview, she handled a majority of the interview and was with me a lot. And then once I got on campus, like our working relationship was absolutely seamless, which I think contributes to our ability to kind of communicate where we are now. But it was just absolutely seamless. You know, again, I think the respect thing is the most important thing, especially when the dynamic changes from us being assistants together to her becoming my boss and the head coach. So, yeah.
I think that's cool. I mean, as athletes too, it's really, what's the word I want to use, attractive, I guess, when you can go to a program and you have coaches that are polar opposites, but you need that. Like, you need someone that's going to bring the energy. You need someone that can keep you calm, calm you down. Coach Deifel used the word fiery to describe Coach Yo, and I'm going to tell y'all a story. I told them I was going to tell this. I could have said it earlier, but the first conversation, do you remember our first interaction?
I
Coach
don't.
Yo? I do.
Taliyah,
Let me
tell me all
you.
about it.
Okay.
Great. I'm sweating under this jacket.
I used to work in marketing, and we would have these full-on athletic department meetings. Y'all still do those, but at the time we were fresh out of COVID, so we were still doing them virtual, and they would break us into these small groups. And I don't remember what we were supposed to be doing in our small group, but I had a track meet that past weekend, and I told the group, like, hey, I ran in this track meet here at Arkansas. I got dead last in my event, but I PR'd. So, you know, everybody's giving me encouraging words. And then we go back into the big group, and Hunter Yurchek's like, tell us something y'all learned in your group. And Coach Yo goes, well, Taliyah got dead last in her track meet, but she PR'd.
I can't remember that. It sounds right on brand, but I don't remember that.
I was like, she did not just.
Gosh, and look where you are now. It was just a motivator. Here we are.
It was good, but
she's like,
I remember that like that was yesterday. So fiery is a good word. I'm sitting here like, that is accurate.
Yeah, we're instantly connected. There we go. Right on.
Well, I want to talk about y'all's playing days. Before you were coaches, what did you take from those experiences that helped turn you into the coaches that you are?
Well, I think that when you really go into our playing experiences, I think it easily answers the question of who we are as coaches. And you can speak to playing for Lou, we both played for two of the strongest leaders, coaches in the game. They went about it completely differently. And so I played for Diane Ninemeyer at Cal, and she is someone that's a legend in our sport. She's retired now. Both of our coaches are retired. She went about it differently. It was more of like empowering the player, like you make your own decisions, not a lot of rules. Our biggest fan, which Lou was too, but there was almost like our structure was not having structure. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so it was, we kind of took care of ourselves. We had to think the game ourselves. We had to do a lot of those things ourselves. It was really empowering in that way. And you can speak to playing for Lou.
Yeah, story is interesting when it comes to fast pitch in general, in that I grew up playing slow pitch. So I didn't start playing fast pitch until my junior year of high school. So just as a coach, instructionally, I really had to learn pretty fast in going to college, understanding the offensive game. So I think that I wasn't a very good hitter. That's fine. And I think that that's helped me be a good coach because I really had to learn. And so I started my career at Georgia State and wanted something more, and just wanted to be challenged more. And so I transferred to Georgia. And like she said, she had kind of the experience in college where they were self-led and they did things. I had an extremely structured environment and a very fiery environment. I am where I am today because of her, because she's an incredible coach, but she's an amazing leader. And so my experience in college was very structured, very intense. And that leaks into my coaching, but I also feel like in my experience with working with Coach Deifel, I've been able to kind of find the happy medium, because I don't know, like when you talk to other people that I played with, they'll talk about experience as a really, really hard thing, which it was. I also worked for Lou, so I was able to see the heart behind what she did. And that ultimately things were difficult and structured because of how much she loved us. And so I just think that like that's informed my coaching a lot. And then also just the experiences of being with Coach Deifel. It's just kind of morphed into a situation where our experiences come together in a way that, again, speaks to all of our players, but also just hits all the things that you need to hit in order to be an elite level program. So I loved my experience at Georgia. And again, it was very difficult and structured, and hers was the opposite. But I think that we are where we are today because of those experiences. So. And
I think we would both go back and do it
100%.
All over again. I know that just in the way Coach Ninemeyer ran her program, we've had some great coaches come out of it. And I got to call every pitch. I got to run the defense. You don't hear of that anymore. She was very, not hands-off. She just didn't micromanage us. And she didn't overcoach us. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, because we got to think for ourselves. And we got to work together and figure out, what the best thing was to do, or strategy, and all those things that I think has kind of shifted away in our game. So I know that the way she led her team has helped me become the leader that I am today. And kind of to Yo's point of like finding different influences in who we've coached with. And I still think my high school coach is one of the best coaches I've ever played for, Coach Noel at Clovis. I've got to play for my dad. Like there's a lot of things that have shaped who we are. Our playing experiences are very, very different, but it is, we've taken the best out of those things, I think, to become who we are.
So when y'all were in college, did y'all do any weird things in the dugout like the girls do now? Were y'all doing stuff, the chants, the running?
We were a really cheery team back in the day, Georgia was. And yes, we did all the things and like playing the like little mini bats like for beats and stuff. So yeah, we did. That was kind of our MO in those days. We're not really a cheery, chatty team at all. But yeah, that was my experience for sure. And I don't know if you guys were like that. We actually played each other.
She's like, no.
We played each other, and she doesn't remember at the Buzz Classic in Atlanta.
I don't remember.
She doesn't remember. And that was when I was at Georgia State. And we thought we were hot stuff because their leadoff hitter was one of the best hitters to ever play, Veronica Nelson, one of the best hitters to ever play this game.
She's now a judge in Houston.
Yeah,
she's killing it.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the very first out of the game, which she either got walked or hit a home run, basically, we struck her out, and we thought we were hot stuff. I think we maybe scored a run, and we were beating Cal, And
all of us were on the other side going, ooh, they're in for it.
And then the next at bat literally hit a line drive this high off the ground that hit this fence dead in the center, and it was
she's so good.
Just madness. But we played, but yeah, so we were just the approach of, again, how our coaches worked. We were all about energy. We're all about positive energy, encouraging, that sort of thing, and also just running a really tight ship. So we were into all that, for sure.
Did you say you played for your dad?
Yeah, he was my travel ball coach.
Oh, how
for
fun.
A few years. Yeah.
What was that like?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. I think I owe a lot of like my mind for calling pitches and strategy to him. He was a catcher also, and so he caught at the University of Miami. Was really, really good. And he taught me how to think the game, catching-wise. And I think that that's kind of lost a little bit in our younger ages. And so he let me figure it out. And I don't think coaches do that much anymore. I think you go watch travel ball and they micromanage every pitch and call every pitch. And so we're creating a little bit of robots, a little bit of just not thinking the game. And he would call an inning and then he'd let me call an inning. And it was never like, why'd you do that? It was just like, okay, what'd we learn? What would you do differently? And it was never blaming. It was just teaching. And so he helped me like look at what I should look at, how to set up batters, all those things, and let me just figure it out. And so, yeah, it was fun.
Is he the reason you got into it?
I think one of the reasons. Yeah. My sister coaches too. My dad just retired as the winningest JUCO baseball coach in California. He did it for a long time, was very, very good. My mom was also very athletic. So we've just always been around sports. I think I surprised my college teammates with going back into it. So I played in Japan right after, but I was the one in college that was like, I mean, I like this, but I think I'll be done when I'm done, you know? And then I got the opportunity to play in Japan and I went for it and they were like, wait, what? And then I went into coaching and I think I surprised all of them. But I think that when you see it firsthand with your parents or my sister coaches, I think I just said that, but you see the other side of it and you see the impact that you can have, and it's not just about the X's and O's, it's the full picture. And so when you get to see kind of behind the curtain of like how it actually happens, it gives you so much more appreciation for the profession, and so I love it. Now I can say I'm probably a lifer.
Probably.
So now, being a coach, have you ever called your dad and like bounced ideas off of him? Like, what do you think about this?
Yeah,
How's
sometimes
that?
he'll call me and tell me. Do you mean do I seek it out or does he seek it out? No. Right. Yeah, and I think that, I mean, he's a go-to for me and my sister. My mom's probably maybe the best coach in the family that never coached. She was a teacher. And so I get their opinions whether I like it or not. My husband was a former football or college football coach, so I get his opinion too. There's just a lot of like-minded just coaching perspectives that all think of things really differently, but are definitely people I can bounce ideas off of willingly. Or
any coaches in your family?
No, I'm the solo.
I just had to check.
I have some cousins that were pretty good athletes, but my influences, I mean, my parents weren't coaches, but they're the most incredible people on earth. I think one of the things that my dad told me when I was really young is really simple, but I think that it's informed who I am as a person and as a coach, and it's just always have a great attitude. And it's probably one of the most important things that he's ever taught me. Both my parents have taught me so much. My mom's the strongest person on earth, and the most competitive person. She's an awful athlete. She's the worst. She's
not great. She's not a great athlete.
She's terrible.
Very sweet human.
Whenever I was younger, I was like, Mom, let's just like jog to the mailbox. Like I'm really concerned about if someone were to chase you and you had to run and get away. I just don't know if you'd get away, you know, but she's awful. But she's the most competitive person in our family. We'll have gingerbread house contests, and she is talking smack the entire time. She thinks that she's the winner even if she doesn't win.
The apple doesn't fall far.
And they're in it. My parents watch every single game. I have, the full rundown. They don't come from, again, the background of being a coach, but they're humans that love me and love for the Razorbacks and just follow and kind of understand the game, because it's been something I've been doing for a really long time too. So
that's how I was going to ask if y'all's parents, when y'all first started coaching, or even now, do they come and watch the games and watch y'all?
Yeah.
Okay. My little sister she was a basketball player. She started coaching now, and my parents go to all the games, and I'm like, why are y'all going to the game? She's not playing. We're going to come watch you. Yeah. And it's super sweet, but that's funny.
Yeah. My mom moved here a year and a half ago, and I don't think she's missed a game. She sits on the visiting side. I'm literally calling her out now. You guys was on the visiting side so she can watch our dugout.
So funny.
And she doesn't miss a game, and she sees everything, and she wants to watch me in the dugout, so she sits where she has a viewpoint of that. And when we get to postseason and I have to go put a towel in her chair. Because that's where she sits. And she has her little crew now.
Flag you down for something if she wants to tell.
She'll wait for me to find her for her, but yeah, she has her crew. For a while, she didn't tell anyone that she was my mom. And so she was sitting with this group that just found that she knew the game really well. So when they asked questions, she had, the right answers. And I'm like, well, did you tell them that you're my mom? And she's like, no. I go, well, what if they, go off on me one day? Or what if they don't like me? And they start to, she goes, they're entitled to their opinion. Okay. Thanks, Mom.
It's Leslie for you.
Yeah, that's Leslie.
Just when we were at Alabama, my parents were there, and they asked, why are you, like, they usually think that there's a player on the team, but obviously I'm their daughter and I'm one of the coaches. And they mistook Courtney for my parents' daughter instead of me, because I'm in the dugout all the time. They're like, it was older Alabama fans, they didn't really know any better. But so my parents love and adore Courtney so much, and her family, and they just mean a lot to us. But yeah, our family situations are really, really cool. And my parents are extremely protective too, and they just feel like Courtney does a great job of taking care of me and looking after me, which I agree. I absolutely agree.
What did y'all's parents think when you decided to take the job here?
They were excited. Mine were excited. I think they thought we were a little crazy just because we had just moved. And so, and when we moved here, Joe and I, we were pregnant with Trip, our oldest. And so it was like, wow, you guys just moved and you're pregnant, starting your family, and you're moving again, and you're moving to Arkansas, all those things.
Yeah.
And so I was hired here when I was 6.5 months pregnant. Jeff hired me, which was, pretty crazy. I came on my interview with a very full belly, And I remember our first meeting was, introducing ourselves and then saying, like, in 2 weeks I'm having, our first child, and I'll. But anyways, that's a little off topic. But it was just all of those things happening, and so our families were more so just kind of like, wow, like you guys just go full steam ahead, huh?
Yeah.
And so they were more so like, what are you guys gonna do when things slow down? Like, what are you gonna do? They're really, really supportive and our biggest fans. It was more so of can you handle all these moving pieces?
Yeah.
More than
anything.
anything.
A lot.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, my parents, I've made some jumps, both transferring from Georgia State to Georgia, where in my interview with Coach Harris, whenever I decided to transfer, she's like, I can't guarantee you'll ever play in the game. I'll give you a jersey, but I can't guarantee you'll ever do anything. I don't know you'll be on the field, And I left Georgia State where I was playing every inning of every game. And that was the first time I saw the support of my family. And whenever I told them that I wanted to transfer, they're like, yep, let's do it. And I've made some jumps in my career. I've worked at 4 different institutions. And so their response is always like, yeah, let's go. Immediately, they trust my decision-making, but then also they're just the biggest cheerleaders ever. And so there was no hesitation because, again, working with and for Courtney is, we've been friends for a really long time and have been in each other's lives. So they're just the biggest cheerleaders. They have gear from every school I've ever been at still. So again, they were just extremely supportive and just trust, again, my decision making, and I was right.
Yeah, it's all worked out.
It has all worked out.
It's been all right.
So any favorite memories so far during your time here at Arkansas? I know that's hard. I feel like there's probably several, but stand out.
Coach Michael and Coach Deifel, Courtney and Matt, both remember every aspect of every single game. And as soon as the game's over, I'm like, okay, what's the next one? And I don't remember easily the details or whatever. I'm just living in the moment all the time. Again, another difference between the two of us. Gosh, I don't know. What would you say?
Most of my favorite memories aren't even on the field.
Right.
Most of the hardest things we've gone to aren't on the field. It's all the stuff off the field that, getting to go to players' weddings. I had Hannah McEwen called me last night and was asking about the weather. So she's moved back here and she actually works at Walt School, but she FaceTimed me last night to ask me about the weather of when she should take shelter, and then asked if I would go to her graduation. Yeah. And it's those things that are my favorite. There's been some really exciting times on the field, really exciting times. And I think there's still a lot of exciting times ahead of us, but it's the off the field stuff that really matter a lot. So I would say my favorite are those things, going to weddings or seeing, when our players come back with their kids and just all those things.
Gosh, I think mine happened this weekend, and it was, again, living in the moment over here, playing Catan with Lenny, Tina, and Reagan Kramer this weekend when we had we got done with our game really early on Saturday, and so we played Catan, which is a phenomenal game. And like she said, it's just the stuff off the field. And we had a blast. I lost. Reagan Kramer's the best baton player in the state of Arkansas. And so
Pretty good at everything she does.
Yep, she whipped all three of us.
Surprised she beat Tina.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Sorry, Winnie.
Tina's going to watch this, and I hope she does, but she was the reason that we lost the first game. And when I say we, it's all the people that lost. It was her fault publicly. She's going to love
You're calling
that.
out everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she knows it. She knows
watching.
it. She knows it. But yeah, so it was so much fun. It's just, like you said, it's just the stuff off the field is the things that you remember the most. So
That's cool. We had a retirement celebration for Coach Harder not too long ago, and something that he said that really like stuck out to me that you don't think about as a student athlete. He said that when you're a college coach, you raise other people's kids in expense of your own, almost, and like your own family. And I think just kind of sitting in the crowd now, being obviously a grown adult and not in college anymore, you really appreciate that. I think a lot of times from the athlete standpoint, it's those same things. It's the relationships that you built with your teammates, with your coaches, like outside of the field, offside of the track, that you remember like for the rest of your life. So that's really cool.
And hopefully you're doing that and you're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
I was bummed I couldn't. We were playing that night, so we missed his celebration. But gosh, you guys, you've had some tremendous coaches over there.
Yeah.
I need to find a Lance Harder bobblehead, so let the record show. I need a Lance Harder bobblehead.
Yeah. I think Terry has some in his office.
Okay. But I think
I hope Terry's watching this.
Terry bobblehead. But I think that if you look at it that way and you know the responsibility you have in that of growing someone else's kids up. We always say too, like I have 2 young boys, Matt has 2 young boys. It's like whenever we invite someone into our program, they're helping us raise our boys. And so being really mindful of who you're inviting into the program. But if you are doing both of those things and your players look at your kids like they're theirs too, it's pretty special.
Well, we have a game that we want to play with.
oh goodness gracious.
So it is a would you rather game. And we're gonna
I didn't know if it was like you two on us two, and then I felt
No.
like we were kind of set up here with you knowing the game.
We're
Okay.
just asking the questions, and you guys tell us which you would prefer. Okay. All right. Do you want to lead us off?
Sure. Okay. So would you rather get a home run or a double play?
Courtney, you want to
Supposed
go
to be
first?
quick answers.
Oh, sorry, home run. Home run for sure. You got to score 1 run to win, so.
I'll say home run.
Yeah. It's exciting that
I
way.
really do like a good double play though. But
For sure, we got, we did.
if I was playing, I'd rather a home run because I think that's pretty fun.
It seems cool. And if you're at Bogle, the fans get a T-shirt.
Yeah,
They do.
And you get Colt like sparks that you know.
That's fun.
It's
Yeah.
pretty. You don't have that for double plays.
And
That's
a
true.
really cool ball, too. Cool SEC ball. to
bigger
get, so-
event.
Would you rather recruit a team player or a singular star?
Gosh, what a question.
I'm gonna say star.
Yeah.
I know that's not the popular probably answer. As long as they're not a jerk.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
say.
fair.
You still have to have a good level of talent
Yeah.
to perform in the SEC, so I'll say star.
Yeah, I hesitated because it's not the popular answer in that I think that the best players in any sport have to have a little bit of self-focus. And not that at the expense of being a great teammate, but they have to have a little bit of that edge of like taking care of what they need to do. And I really value that. Sometimes, I just really value that.
Absolutely.
I'll just leave it there, yeah.
Not the wrong answer at all.
Sure, sure.
Would you rather play a game in the rain or the snow?
Snow, easy.
Rain.
Really?
Snow, easy, because it's like, I don't like the way that the rain messes up my outfits and my shoes, whereas the snow doesn't do that.
That's a good point.
it's
I didn't
just
even
like-
think
Snow
about
is
that.
cold.
And
It can be 80
turns
degrees
to
in
water.
rain. Yeah.
That's true.
It is, but it's just a lot. I mean, it's really ugly whenever it melts, but like in the actual process of being out, it's not that bad.
I'll go rain.
All right. Would you rather coach with your best friend or beat your rival?
Gosh. Well, I say coach. I'm gonna say coach your best friend because that's the everyday. Like winning one. I mean, again, living in the moment here. Once the game's over, it's over. You know.
Yeah.
But your everyday is the thing that's the most important. So that's what I would
Same.
say. Yeah.
Same.
Would you rather go undefeated on the road or at home?
Both.
Yeah. Never
That's
lose.
the right answer.
Yeah, never lose. Gosh, we've done really well on the road recently. So I don't know. It's hard to say. That's kind of where we are right now. We do really well on the road with winning 10 series in a row. I'm gonna say road because that's who we are right now. So
Okay.
I mean, our fans are incredible.
Yeah.
They're really, really special, and that environment's special. And when you win in front of them, I don't think there's anything better. There's not a better fan base in the country. But can't answer your question. So
next,
I feel in answering one, you're giving the other, and I don't want to give either.
question.
Not happening.
All right. Would you rather practice early in the morning or late at night?
Morning, easy.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I would have said the same
What's
thing.
early for y'all?
Well, in the fall, we practice at 9.
Okay.
Yeah,
Usually
they
say
they
like a
lift
6
at
a.m..
oh yeah no they
Gosh,
lift
no.
at like 7:15, 7:30. We don't really go too early lifting, and then we practice at 9. Give them time to eat a little,
Yeah.
and then they're done by noon.
We do
kinda nice.
small group hitting too, and so we had a session already this morning at 8:45. So it's usually 8:30 or 8:45 is the first group, depending on your class schedule.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I feel like you have more day when you
Sure.
Oh, totally agree with that.
get it done.
Okay, would you rather watch sports or play sports?
Play.
Watch. I'm old.
Play.
You're like, I'm done.
I'm done. And I'm too competitive for my level of athleticism
That's fair.
right now.
That's a great answer.
I am not athletic enough to play and do well, and it's really hard. It'd
be frustrating.
I'll watch.
I live
sit
in a
from the
fantasy
side.
world and just feel like I don't know. I
Still
just
there.
love playing. Yeah.
I haven't lost it.
Building ground balls, playing ping pong, all my favorites.
Ping pong counts as a sport.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Uno could count as a sport if it gets
100.
Okay, well, I'm
It's
gonna
heated.
Uno.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do Uno.
Board games.
Yeah.
It's a stretch.
Would you rather have an experienced veteran team or a young, energetic team?
These
Pros
these
and
are
cons to
impossible
both,
questions.
right?
That's a trap question.
These are impossible questions. Both.
Both. Good mix of it.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of we're looking at those two questions. Like last year, we had an experienced veteran team. This year, we have a more inexperienced young team. I wouldn't choose one over the other. They each have their challenges. They each have their strengths. So I'll just leave it at that.
There. That's fair.
I know my answer. No.
Okay, last one. Would you rather be in a video meeting or an in-person meeting?
In person.
Yeah.
COVID ruined video meetings for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
those.
In person for sure.
I'm so happy that most of that's over.
Yeah.
Me too.
There are some meetings I like that they're
Yeah.
video.
Zoom is it's
Like what,
convenient.
Coach Deifel? What kind of meetings do you like on video?
Some of them. But in person, you can just feel a lot more in person.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of it. So
Well, we're happy that we got to see you guys in person today.
yeah, this was
This
fun.
is fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on That's the Tea with us.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thank
pleasure.
you.
Thanks for having
It
us.
was fun.
Yeah.